Hello, I'm so excited to be back today. As you can see behind me, I am in Showit, which is my favorite website designer, and I'm going to walk y'all through how I build out a page. I'm going to say build out lightly because we already have a structure for this page. I'm working with Time to Thrive Nutrition, and we've already built out pages for two of their three specialties. So we have a page already built for women's health and then pregnancy and perinatal care. And I am getting ready to build out the page for their sports nutrition specialty. With this, I have already written their copy, and so what I'm doing today is duplicating one of the current pages and then just swapping out all of the information for the website copy that I have already written. And then I will go through and do a little bit of like SEO settings to make sure all of that is squared away. And this is really similar, like what I'm doing now is really similar to like what you would do if you were to purchase a Showit template and swap it out with your information. And so if you are interested in Showit or already have a Showit site and just want to learn how to use it more efficiently, welcome to my video of me getting to just ramble as I swap out all of the content. Maybe you'll learn a little trick or two to go through editing a Showit site. I'm going to move myself down here into the little corner. I wish there was a way for this little bar to go away, but such is life. I am first going to head over to all of the pages. As you can see here on the left-hand side, we already have women's health and then pregnancy and perinatal. I am just going to duplicate the pregnancy and perinatal, and then I'm going to rename this to sports nutrition. Now, me and Holly went back and forth on whether to call this sports nutrition or performance nutrition. I think ultimately where we landed on is people are more likely to search for sports nutrition, at least her population is, and the population of her team. And so we're going to stick with sports nutrition, but you'll see me incorporate performance nutrition throughout some of the website copy as well. All right, I'm going to pop into here into SEO settings, and we are going to do sports nutrition. You know what? We're going to leave that as it is actually because I want to get some of the website copy in here first. So as you can see here, this is our website copy that I already have written out. So we're going to have our H1 tag, which is nutrition counseling for performance and sports in Pennsylvania. This is, you should only have one H1 tag. This is going to be it. And we're going to just space it like that. And then I'm going to come in here under text properties and make sure that that says H1. This is kind of like the header of the website that Google's going to read, which is why you should only have one of these. It's going to get confused if you have more than one. So that's going to be our H1 tag. It says what it is, who it's for, and where they're located, which is kind of my perfect combination of keywords for an H1 tag. Then we have our title for women who train in real life that I'm going to drop right there. One important thing is to make sure that the text box just fits snugly around the text. That's usually what I go through at the very end of building a website. I'll go through and make sure that all of the text boxes are good to go. And then you can see here, I have it open desktop and mobile. Really, it's up to you. There's like more times than not where I will just edit in desktop and then I'll open up the mobile. Just like, little wild card every time. Never truly know what you're going to get. But today, let's just go through these side by side. And then I'm going to swap out this picture. So we're going to go image. We're going to click on this image. And this is the home, the hero section. I already uploaded some stock photos in here. One thing that I have not done yet that I actually should have done before I uploaded them is to rename them. But it's like chicken or egg, right? Like I like to just source a bunch of stock photos because I never fully know which ones I'm going to use for the site. And so I don't spend a ton of time naming them. For the sheer fact of, I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. And so I'll go back and rename them after this. But I'll give this title Sports Nutrition Women Post-Workout Sports Nutrition Pennsylvania. That should work. All right, in this specialty list, we are going to do this section right here. Goals, all of that. I'm going to make sure there's 3 spaces in between these just to keep consistent with the other pages. That looks good on desktop. Okay, and then we have the validation section. I think I've used a question on every single one of these pages so far. Okay, this is called an orphan word. We're going to not have orphan words. So I'm going to just make that a smidge longer. Recenter that, pull up the text, the body text, and then we'll paste that in there. And I'm going to make this canvas a little bit smaller just so there is good spacing. And then I need to update this on mobile. Highlight those. We're going to align them to the canvas so they're nice and centered. Perfect. All right, so now I have the Imagine If section. So we are going to just copy this text over and paste it in here. I love and highly recommend writing copy in a Google Doc before you transfer it to your website. If you're building this yourself, you're going to feel inclined to want to write the copy as you go. And it's not necessarily wrong, especially when you have a website template that you know is specific for your niche. Like I build all of my templates specific for private practice. I'm not going to lead you astray to like the order that everything should go in, but it is really helpful. Like technically, you're supposed to write the copy before you do the design because the copy's more important, like the words that you're going to use to talk to the client on the other side of the screen. Like design is important, yes, but the words is what is going to really make an impact. And so you, if you're working with someone, or if you're working with a designer, if you're working with a copywriter, it's usually good to always write the copy first and then let the design come after. All right, so I'll just throw in that picture there. Spacing looks good. No, it does not. That needs to get moved up a little bit. Perfect. I feel like I say perfect a lot if anyone wants to count the number of times that I say the word perfect. Then we have Meet the Team, and we have Holly, Shelby, and Maria. So I just need to swap out Megan for Maria. There's 4 dietitians on the team. They all specialize in a little bit of everything, but we're focusing on the ones that either have like credentials or additional trainings, or like that's just the population that they really want to work with. Meet your team of sports dietitians. This should be Maria. I need to grab her name. Blush. That's right. And then we'll swap out Megan's headshot for Maria's. Great. Now I did remove the specialties underneath, and so I know I'm going to have to adjust some of the formatting on mobile. Scoop that up. Shelby. Scoop that up. Now you can get like really particular. So for example, this height is 147. This height is 145. So it's like 2 pixels off. I usually do everything pretty much based on feel because I've just been doing this for so long that it comes pretty second nature. Same with the spacing, like in between each clinician. But you can get quite technical with it if you wanted to. I also try not to get so in the weeds with it until I like know I'm absolutely done editing a page, because then I'm just gonna have to go through and do it again. We're going to swap out the sessions to support stays the same. I'm going to swap out these non-diet approach with things related specifically to performance nutrition. Everything else in there was related to perinatal care. That's all good. Let me adjust it on mobile. Okay, and then we have some not necessarily definitions, but just ways that they could support that are going to be a little different, right? Like training for a marathon is going to look different than training for a strength-based activity. So we have marathons and races. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. We're going to keep the same format. So we have marathons and races. Then we have strength training. And then we have an active lifestyle. Great. So if you wanted to make these even, I'm just going to click on each of the boxes, not the text, but like the box behind it. And I'm going to click distribute vertically. And then I'll click the title and the paragraph holding down the command key and just make sure that it's centered in each box. And that should give us the illusion, not the illusion, that should give us centered content. Great. And then we'll just update this on desktop as well. Now each specialty, so I have like a general frequently asked questions related to the practice, but then I went ahead and added frequently asked questions for each individual specialty that they have. I already have someone pushing a stroller. Let's do one with the kid. Oops, wrong way. So I have these set up in a couple different Canvas views. I am still waiting on the answer to this one, but we're gonna go ahead and put it here anyway. So under the page, you can see that I have a Canvas view for questions and then a different Canvas view for each of the answers to those questions. So I'm just gonna copy all of the questions over to start with. And then some of the spacing is going to be a little wonky. I know for a fact that I want all of these arrows to be directly in the middle of the text box, and you can see it line up just like that. Just going to adjust all of the sizing for these. I'm going to estimate spacing. I might go through and make them a little more specific. And last question. Great. And then I'm just going to center those to the canvas so they're in alignment with the image. Okay. So I'm going to scooch myself over here. Now what I'm going to do is just take each of the questions. So this is question number 1. So we're going to head in here. We're going to paste that question. And then we're going to paste the answer to the question, which we don't have. So I am just going to put some asterisks right there. And then this question is about sports versus performance. So I'm just going to change the name of that Canvas view so I know exactly which question that I am getting to. Next question, how is performance nutrition different for women? I'm going to come in here, I'm going to paste that question. Then we're going to copy and paste the answer. And then I have this is consistent on every one, the return to questions. That way people can go back to where the questions are. And This question was for women. All right, next question. Can you work on performance without macros? Such a good question. Copy and paste that in. We'll rename this to macros. Next question, postpartum and breastfeeding athletes. Super easy answer to that. Okay. And then our last question is about underfueling. Okay. Underfueling. Copy and paste that. Perfect. Said it again. Let's rename this to underfueling. Awesome. So that's how we have the Q&As. I'm just going to go through because obviously all of the content is not obviously. If you show it, you don't know. But whatever you add, whatever you have in Showit on desktop, whenever you create it, it will automatically get added to mobile. You are just going to have to go through and adjust the spacing a little bit, but all of the content itself should be there. And then we'll wait for that answer, and I'm just going to come through and make sure all of the spacing is good on these. Awesome. Sounds good. Now, the rest of this, so you'll see here on my copy doc, I have site canvases for session fee and insurance and site canvas for final call to action. And then I do have the contact form on here as well. Because those are site canvases, they're not going to need to be changed. I just needed to make sure that they were on the site. And now everything should be good to go for the sports nutrition page. Last thing I need to do is come in here and, well, I have some SEO stuff. I don't think that's going to happen in this video. So sorry to overpromise and underdeliver, but I do need to make sure now that we have the page for sports nutrition that anywhere where I'm wanting them to visit that page, it is linked. So I'm going to go into click actions, page, sports nutrition, and then we're going to do this for the mobile navigation as well. And then there's a couple spots on the homepage that I want to link or need to link. So we'll head to the homepage. We have this right here. Did I link the titles? Yes, I did. So we'll link the title to sports nutrition and we'll link the learn more to sports nutrition. I believe. Oh, and then the footer. Sports nutrition. Awesome. And now we have a whole new page built out. Hope you enjoyed that. It is always fun to update pages, add pages. I hope you learned something while we were doing this, or maybe you just wanted to listen to me ramble as I go through and design a website. And that's fine too. So glad to have you join this video. More to come. We'll see you later.